We're exploring the playfulness and kind of beginner's mind zone. We want to go into what we would call the liminal space of play. Serious play, like there's a phrase serio ludere, which is serious play in Latin. And that's the place where we can discover more about ourselves and find new insights. So how does the expressive arts help with managing depression? Well, if we look at what is a depression, it's literally a pushing down of what? It's emotions, right? So through expression, in terms of like a visual experience, we might invite the person to choose some colors that might reflect a certain emotion, like sadness, for instance, and then put that sadness energy into some kind of free, open-ended play.
A lot of the creative self-expression just bypasses, the rational mind, and it allows, more alternative states of consciousness to come forward. And in so doing, it really helps to process and express and understand what our emotions are. It's been demonstrated that creative self-expression in the realm of depression really helps also to decrease rumination. So that means it gets us off of the spiral of negative thinking. The wonderful thing about self-expression is that it knows no limits. There's so many forms that it can take, and obviously it depends on the individual what form of expression resonates. And of course that might change day to day, month to month, or moment to moment, and it's all okay. Some examples, particularly in the realm of writing, could just be expressive writing. It's important when we're doing these things, or to have ideally a quiet space that feels private, where we can write without interruption.
So journaling is something that I encourage all clients to go home and do as homework if they want, if they don't already have a journaling practice. But how I use expression and words in a session would look more like trying to create some poetic images out of a few ideas that already came up in the session.
It doesn't really matter what the grammar or the spelling or the structure looks like. The focus is on expressing our emotions freely and honestly.
So I might invite somebody to bring in their journal and then ask them to circle a couple of the words that most stand out and create an image out of those words, like a poetic image of some sort, and then possibly make a drawing to that, or maybe some movement even.
Another means for self-expression could be something like collaging, gathering a variety of materials, whether it's magazines or fabrics or photographs, etc. And we may set an intention for the collage, such as expressing our current emotions or trying to understand where we're at on with the affliction of depression. And so, again, it's about kind of getting out of the rational mind and letting your intuition select images, words, or textures that resonate, and then bringing them together, arranging them on a blank surface, and just kind of going with your gut, I guess. Identifying songs that capture your current mood and reflecting on our experiences with depression. We may consider the lyrics, the melody, or the overall tone of the songs and how they relate to our emotional state. Of course, there's so many ways to self-express. I mean, we could simply do that through, as opposed to listening, singing. There's also this thing called habit stacking, wherein if you already have a routine that's well established in your life, even if it's just drinking a coffee at 8 a.m. every morning, if you're going to devote, let's say, 15 minutes a day to expressive writing, then the stacking of the habit is to put the expressive writing right before the coffee. So at 7:45, you do the expressive writing, and then you have the coffee, so that they both kind of become habits together. And ultimately, if you wanted to separate them, once the expressive writing became the habit, you could do so.
for people to be a little bit hesitant about expressing themselves in the arts. So I would just encourage that this is a very low skill activity, whatever we do together, and results in very high expressive content. So that is very satisfying to most people.
Have fun, or try to have fun, and remember that there's no way to get this right or wrong. It's simply doing. So if it feels possible, just kind of jump into anything. And you may notice self-doubt or negative self-talk, and just not trying to push that away, maybe turning your attention to the negative self-talk or the self-doubt and saying, okay, I hear you. Is there anything else you want to say? Okay, thank you. And now this other part of me really wants to try to engage in self-expression, whatever medium that will be. And so, almost adopting a childlike attitude, or innocence. We didn't really criticize ourselves as much. We just tried when we were kids, and we might have gotten messy, we might have gotten ink on our hands or paint all over the place, and ultimately that was okay. So, I'll just go back to what I was saying in terms of, it's really not about the product, it's more about the process. There's no end to the ways or the medium that art or creativity provides. So whether it's using an old school camera, or going more the digital route, that's all good. You can, I'm holding a pen here, but you can certainly use a phone on your notes section to write on a phone. You can type on a keyboard, whatever feels most pertinent and resonant for you. I encourage you to go with it. But obviously, we're trying to kind of express what the experience with the depression is like. So always using that as kind of your guiding, your guide in this journey, can help to move through it and to make sense of what's happening.
Redbird Therapy.